Here's Gamut. But we're near Gamut, and we're at the Dead Kobolds. We shall name it Dead Koboldville. There. Hashtag Photoshop.
Hashtag Photoshop.
Dead kobolds aren't.
Oh, but they're quite safe.
My kobold died late last fall.
Mouse drawings and paint always come out well.
Farm is dead too, apparently. Here's the barn. Big door.
Might have to get big beasts of burden in there.
Moo.
Moo.
Did I draw a cow? Really bad cow. Looks like a cat, but it's saying moo.
I mean,
Cow.
you just gotta draw some spots on it. And, like, an udder.
Yeah, the other things that I forgot.
It makes all the difference.
There, now it's a cow. This is really skinny because farmers aren't there anymore.
It's true. You could give it horns. That'd really... And we'd know.
What else? Give it a hay bale.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep. I'm passing the time.
Good deal. Oh, I can see that. My goodness.
We're in the farm outside of Gamut. Commence the session. Episode 8. Hail the Monster Slayers.
Yay.
Last time, in episode 7, our heroes finally met as a group, which, what that means is Rook, Gaz, and Fredegar, whereas I'm sure Gaz was going by some other name, were in Gamut on their way to drop off mail for Fredegar, who is working as a courier. They met with the, there it is, half-elf Ysarelle, who is new to this area, new to civilization, except for spending her childhood and adolescence in a seedy style city in the desert that has all kinds of nasty stuff. So she is
so short civilization.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like isation rather than civilization. So that was Oasis. So she comes into the city square, yeah, and sees the fountain and says, "Oh, I like water." So then we move on from there. And they make friends at the fountain, and they decide they're going to go eat at Darnellio's, where the French-accented elf maitre d' charges them 10 gold for making a reservation at the last minute. And then they have lunch there, and shortly after leaving Darnellio's, which was named by Tristan, they heard a commotion outside, which was a farmer coming into the town square saying, "Ah, big monsters took over my farm. Big scary monsters with spears that kind of look like dragons. They got scales." And without skipping a beat, Rook says, "Oh, so we got kobolds we got to deal with." So that mystery was solved, and they went out to the farm and turned into a firing squad, a death squad that just took out a group of kobolds in a matter of seconds. And that's where we have picked up today's episode, Hail the Monster Slayers.
So at this point, we have mopped up the kobolds that were there. Are we able to see if there's anyone perhaps hiding within the house, or like verify that the farmer's family, etc., are alive or dead?
I won't make you do any checks or ask the correct questions or whatnot, but I will say from the battle, there was the kobold who was on watch. I believe there was one who was also on guard. Like, there was the one who was on patrol, there was one on guard, and if memory serves, one came out of the house and one came out of the barn, something along those lines. So if there are people in either the barn or the house, they're either hiding or were prisoner. So without making you go through the motions, I will say that just doing a cursory check of the barn, a cursory check of the house, without, you know, breaking down all the doors and all of that, or doing detect magic or any of those things, you have not been able to find any signs of any sort of family or dead family on the farm.
I'd like to search the kobolds and see if there's... I know they're not generally organized, but perhaps there's still something.
Just to see what's on their person.
See what's on their person, see if there's perhaps, for some odd reason, something that says why they're here, which I doubt, but it doesn't hurt to check.
So the kobolds have tattered leather armor that only fits small creatures. They have various spears that are crudely made, and slings made out of hide of who knows what, and sacks of pebbles for use on the slings, as well as at least 2 of them have little money pouches that have not gold coins, but just precious gems of varying kinds. Some could be garbage, some could be worth something, but you have not found any sort of missive or message or anything like that.
Well, if a cursory glance has not shown us any survivors or dead, perhaps, Ysarelle, you want to accompany me and we can talk to the person who fetched us? Maybe they know more about this farm and where... Oh, maybe they own it. Maybe they know who owns it.
Maybe before that we could
sounds like a fantastic idea.
Maybe before we leave, we could check for human tracks, anything that looks like there'd be someone fleeing. See if we can find out where they ran to.
I mean, I always find that it's faster to ask people who might know than to try to find my own answers.
If memory serves, we're at least a half hour out of town, though.
All right, Ysarelle, you said that you are a survivalist. Help me with that first, then.
All right, that sounds like a better idea.
So we will be using, I believe, the survival skill.
Yes, let me pull up my sheet.
She's got her sheet.
It can be used even if you're not trained in it. Which isn't going to matter because I rolled very poorly.
Get those bad rolls out of the way now.
Right? It is a wisdom skill, and my wisdom...
Sorry, we're doing survival, right?
Survival, yep. I got a 5.
I'm pretty sure I rolled really badly too. I rolled a 6.
Hey,
Okay.
6 and a 5.
Plan B, then.
So, we're gonna go talk to that guy.
I mean,
What owns
I got
the
a
farm.
10.
We're leaving.
You got her 10, though.
That's nice.
I do have a feat of track, but I still have to use a survival for that.
Yeah.
Is it a feat or a feature?
She's got a
Special
feat. That is allowing
I have a
the
feat.
more strenuous task involved with survival. So if I'm correct, Rook is in the middle of saying, "Hey, I found something," and everyone else is just walking away.
Like, we didn't find anything, so we're gonna go talk to the guy who summoned us.
So, what did I
Wait,
find?
what did he find?
I'm specifically interested to know if there's any kobold tracks intermixed with them that might have been giving chase.
Okay, with the 10, you're not going to get a great amount of detail, but you did find an amount of tracks that you believe to be proportionate to what you know to be true, which is the group of kobolds that were here and the person who ran to Gamut.
But no other tracks? Like no one else fleeing?
Nothing else that was clear enough for you to be able to say with certainty.
Alright. Then I'll say, from what I can see, it looks like it might have just been the person that contacted us that lives here. So
Sounds like I've got the right idea, then. I call back as I'm walking away.
you don't have to be a dick about it. It's best to double check. If somebody else was in danger being chased by these things, we would have needed to give chase after them as well.
just sort of like stretches his water. He's like, I did double check, and now I'm getting the correct answer.
Because you didn't even see these.
He just throws his arms over his head and continues walking.
Logan's internet is out.
What?
He just texted me.
Ugh.
So we walk back to Gamut. I don't assume that the bard is going to contribute any survival checks greater than what we just got.
You never know. He could roll a 20.
You never know, but unfortunately he's not here to do it. Maybe you left him there and he rolls a 20 when he gets back and he's like, guys, I found something while you were gone. So you return to Gamut. It's a 20-30 minute walk to get there because it's across a bunch of farmland and stuff. You go back to the town square. There's a few people who recall that you left to go to the farm who recognize you when you come back. And they sort of mumble amongst each other like nothing you can discern, but it's just like, oh, they're back and that sort of thing. So you find the guy who's just sort of sitting next to the fountain, wiping his brow still, looking at his personal belongings, just really worried. He's got some people consoling him. And then he sees you and immediately leaps to his feet and says, have the monsters been dealt with?
Yes, they have been. Were you the only one that occupied that farm?
No, you got my family, didn't you? They're with you, right?
They weren't there, so we're not sure where they might have fled. Do you have anywhere we might be able to look for them?
Yeah, they're in the basement. You looked, right?
The basement.
We didn't find it, so chances are the creatures didn't either.
Well, that's good news. Should I go with you? Is it safe?
We destroyed 4 of the creatures. Did you see more than 4?
I don't know. Could have been 4, could have been 24. I was so scared. I told him to hide so I could come back to town and get help.
Well, then clearly you felt the basement.
Well, we're pretty sure. Yeah, we're pretty sure we got them all.
Oh my goodness, you're heroes. Thank you so much. He's like kneeling in front of you.
Why don't we go back to your home and make sure your family is safe?
Yes, let's.
And sir, the bowing is so appreciated, but it's not necessary.
As I help him to his feet, I just say, you can pay for our services, right?
He thinks for a second, and then says, yes, of course I can.
Of course. Good, excellent. Let's go.
So on the way back to town, Rook would have been talking to Ysarelle. You handled yourself fairly well in that fight. Have you been training with that bow long?
You know, I have. Thank you for asking. I was working with my friend Kador on it for quite a while, and he helped me get trained with the druids and all that. So yes, I'm so glad that someone's noticing, finally, that I'm doing a decent job with it.
Certainly better than I. My archery skills had never been, my forte. I tend to prefer to use this, also kind of patting the greatsword that he's holding.
What in the 9 hells is a druid?
That was my next question. Seems I've been beating to it.
Well, they are people that live in the forest.
Forest folk.
So, does that mean you're a druid? Because you lived in the forest?
Oh no, I'm not. The druids are different. They're really into like saving animals and stuff, and I get that, but no, I'm not a druid, so.
If the animals are cute, I'll save them.
Hey,
As long as
Gaz.
they're not a threat to people, I certainly don't tend to cause any harm.
Hey, Gaz, do you have knowledge local?
Knowledge local? Yeah, I believe I do. Let me see.
I have 2 knowledge skills. I don't remember which ones. Let me check.
Killing and more killing.
No,
Uh,
it's no nobility in religion.
But I've been focusing my points into other skills, so I don't have any ranks in knowledge local, so I can't roll it.
Okay, instead, I want you to make an intelligence check.
Okay. All right, that's not so bad. That's going to be a 19.
She just said the name Kador, and you recall there being someone who grew up here when you were in your 70s and 80s named Kador. He was just a random human. Nothing, crazy awesome about him, and then he randomly just left to go live in the forest.
Some human with an elf name.
Pretty sure he's a human. Is he an elf? Am
I don't know. I would just mean that Kador sounds like the name of an elf.
It's been a while since I've had him in the game, so let me look real quick so I can correct myself if I need to.
I'm pretty sure it was Kador.
No, it's definitely Kador. We just don't remember if he was a human or not. Do you remember if he was a human or an elf, Bree?
He was a human.
I think maybe. Oh, I don't remember. Elf?
He's a human.
Human.
So,
you said your friend's name was Kador, huh?
Yes. Why?
How long have you been friends with him? Because I in my travels, I feel like I've crossed paths with a human. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, named Kador, and it stuck in my mind because it was such an unusual name for a human.
I mean, I only went to the forest and trained with him for, I don't know, about 2 years. So I've known him for about 2 years.
I mean, I didn't know him beyond his name. That's just, you hear a name like that and you hear it again, it can't be coincidence, you know?
I mean, I don't really know because I haven't really been out in the world that much, but I'll take your word for it.
just wanted to point that out, that you probably have run across Kador, perhaps his father's business or something where he was apprenticed or something like that.
Okay.
Before long, we're back at the farm. The farmer is just spending the whole time talking about how he's so worried about his family and he's so grateful that you've done this for him, that you saved his family, he hopes. And then when you get to the farm...
Can I do, sense motive on this guy?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
$15.
Yeah, he is exactly as he seems.
All right.
Meaning trustworthy. Just very simple-minded. Clearly not wise in the ways of the world, which is not a bad thing for a random NPC farmer. And he genuinely thought that the kobolds were big scary monsters.
How tall is he, out of curiosity, just so I know his definition of big compared to him?
Just below average height. Like 5'4", 5'5", around there.
Significantly bigger than a kobold.
Yes. They must have been far off for him to have been this scared.
Or they were, yammering lizards with weapons, which is enough.
Or maybe he saw like the big spooky shadow thing. Where like you think something's really big, but it's because you see the shadow.
Yeah.
So yeah, he heads into the house because I can't believe you didn't find them. Then he pulls a rug off of another rug underneath a chair. It's really big, and underneath that is like a hidden handle in the floor. He opens that and says, "See, basement."
How on earth is that even remotely convenient for you?
I mean, I think the man needs congratulations. He protected his family very well. This was a well-hidden...
Yes,
basement.
it worked quite well. I'm just surprised here.
He reveals a family of wife and son. Son is about 6 years old, thereabouts. Wife is about his age, just a little bit shorter than him. They're very simple folk, dressed very simply, very simple-minded and friendly and hospitable and eternally grateful that you saved them from these evil, scary monsters.
Really, it was nothing. Not something that requires so much pomp, if you will. However, payment is acceptable.
Yes, if we can go to town, I can see to that, says the farmer.
Just like deadpan stare at him. Like, really? Back to town? Okay.
You'll see Rook more or less just like pinching the bridge of his nose, kind of with his head down tilt, that kind of a thing.
So he's Farmer Garson. And his
Garson.
surname is Garson. Son of Gar.
Of course.
Of course. He leads you back to town. He brings his son along with him. The wife is going to clean up the mess.
Clean up the mess. A bunch of bodies.
Well, that's not fair.
She seems, I don't know, eager to get back to business. She's like, I'll take care of this. It's nothing. I'll take care of it. You go have fun. Make sure you, did you want any of these spears or these armors or these pouches?
I'll take the pouches because I recall there was gold in them.
There was
Okay.
not. There are precious stones in them.
Or precious stones.
I'm burning the rest of this. This is garbage.
Small leather armors. However, the leather armors can be broken down.
There's 4 pieces of kobold leather armor.
All right. I mean, those seem light. Like I could just stack them up in my hands and carry them back.
Shouldn't be an issue. And then if you want the spears and slings and stones, you can get them. Otherwise, the only other thing is 2 pouches of precious gems, totaling 9 gems.
Just toss the pouches to Rook and carry a stack of leather. I guess I want to, just like look closely at the leather before I just grab it up and make sure it's not like infested with anything that I'm gonna get on me.
One of them has some nasty stains on it, not just the blood, but fortunately, like, of the 4 pieces of armor, 2 seem pretty untouched. One has like a blood spatter on it. The other one has like this weird goop on it that maybe you don't want.
Like nasty goop.
Yeah, like he barfed up his breakfast or wiped his butt on it. I don't know, something like that.
Sure. If it's really off-putting, I guess I would avoid it. I was mostly like looking for like parasites or mange.
Fortunately, not that.
Okay, cool. Then I will take the ones that are not completely disgusting. If that's 3, then that's still leather that some tanner could use to make armor for somebody else, which means it's valuable.
Yeah, certainly, it's a good idea. You're almost a trapper at this point.
Yeah, me. Look at me, hunting and skinning, and by that I mean killing monsters that were smart enough to make their own armor and not feeling bad about it.
Okay, so Farmer Garson and his 6-year-old son that he keeps close to him so that you'll look favorably upon him leads you back to Gamut. He says, I will make sure that you get paid for this. It's a hero's work that you do, and while I myself will not... money's tight right now, but I can make sure you get what you deserve for doing this.
It's weapons and armor cost money, but they allow us to do this job and help many people.
So you head into Town Square, and he's going around Town Square making sure everyone understands that you're heroes, that you defeated the big scary monsters with spears that looked like dragons. And he's also trying to talk some of the shopkeepers into giving you discounts. He tried the whole would you do it for exposure thing. That didn't work. And then he says, oh, I can do better than this.
Yeah,
I can do better than this. And at least one shopkeep is saying, yeah, sure, I can give you a discount if you want a discount on just general goods. There's also nearby. It's like a tinker. He does smithing, but he only makes small things like daggers or custom items. And he says, "You know what? I'll make something for free for you guys if you want. I got time today."
This guy's got connections.
Well, more like it's becoming the talk of the town square at this point. That there's heroes who slew the mighty monsters, and then the farmer leaves his son with you, and he goes over to the town hall for a second. The son's just like sitting there kicking rocks and stuff. 10 minutes pass and he returns and says, "Okay, I had a talk with the Elders Council, and they're going to see what they can do."
Do I know anything about this Elders Council?
Well, the Elders Council runs Gamut politically, so they have their sheriff and deputies thing going on for law enforcement, and so it's more of a militia. And then they've got the Elders Council, who, as opposed to when they would do the council meetings in Trapper's Camp, it was more like the foreman will be telling people what they're going to do. In Gamut, it's more like an open forum, but the final word is voted upon by the Council of Elders. They try to represent the interests of the majority. So you don't have that much of an impression of them, but that's what you recall.
Okay.
Plus, it's been a while since you would have been to a meeting.
Do they have much of an impression of me? Do I have a reputation with them or any subsidiary bureaucracy?
My impression is that you would have tried not to
I
acquire
have tried
such a name.
not to, but a level 1 character can only do so much, so I am just curious.
The discretion you've shown with your character thus far indicates you might not have a reputation here.
Okay. Then, he has talked to this Elder Council, and they're going to have a forum about us.
They're going to see what they can do. There is a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, the 30th, before the spring equinox festival. That is, it's already been scheduled. That's when they're going to have a big forum about current events. So perhaps that might have to do with it in some way, but you really don't know. He's been very vague, and it's more like he needed help with the kobolds and promised payment because that's what would get you to do it. But he's trying his best to make it up to you.
There is no money for what we can surmise is that there is no money forthcoming, but he is now calling in every favor he can think of.
Yes. So, I mean, Farmer Garson may not be a public figure, but he's apparently garnered the sympathy of the locals through his ordeal, sitting there for an hour wondering about the fate of his family, to the point that now everyone's gained quite a bit of reputation points with you, if you will, because you helped this poor man. So he went from nobody to that poor Farmer Garson to now you're the heroes who saved Farmer Garson's family. And before you know it, just like in the blink of an eye, now like it's gone viral across the city.
He's surprisingly politically savvy about for someone who lives a half-hour walk out of town.
He seems to have taken to his new status pretty well. So, Garson says, I do need to go home, but my understanding is, well, I mean, you're getting discounts, and I believe there's at least one person wanting to do a free commission for you, and if I'm to believe the Elders Council, they do intend to pay you in some way. But they apparently have a representative who's going to meet with you today, if you are easy to find, and then tomorrow they want to bring it up in the town hall to see if they could. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate, but I don't know. Take a collection. I don't know.
I'm just going to step up to him and with a smile on my face and say, Garson, thank you. Go home. See to your family. Your wife needs help burning those things. Make sure she doesn't burn all of the spears. You might want to keep one just in case.
Can I have a spear? We'll talk about that, son. I really want a spear. Yeah, well, we'll talk
Tell
about
your wife
that.
hi for me.
I'm going to drop my bag on the ground and detach an unstrung short bow from it and a bowstring and say, these will help you protect your farm in the future.
Garson's son
case.
reaches for the bow and says thank you.
Yeah, I'm fine with him taking it from me. I've still got the bowstring in my hand.
Garson interjects and puts himself between you and his son, not because of you, because his son is trying to take a weapon.
It's an unstrung bow. I look more concerned about him interceding than the boy taking it.
The boy says, "Oh boy, a sword!"
I hold out the bowstring to Garson.
Thank you. I will make sure we learn how to use this.
Hay bales.
Be careful.
Hay bales do make good targets.
I had an excess of bow, so
Whoa.
I have a long bow, which is all I need.
Well, it seems like they're on their way to being possibly capable of warding off kobolds next time. So that's a hope. I mean, the kobolds, when you were fighting them, they did, the last one did take 2 running for his life. So maybe you can take solace in one good shot makes them run away.
Mm.
It's better than giving up your farm, right? Maybe you can check on them later. I don't know. But
Yeah,
in the
maybe we'll
meantime,
check on them later and make
Yeah.
sure they didn't shoot themselves with my short bow.
I realized it wasn't getting better, so I gave up on that one. But in the meantime, there's a lot of hubbub going on in the town square. Just everyone like whispering and people like coming up to give you random gifts like food. And then a representative of the Elders Council comes, and you've seen this guy before. You watched him grow up. He played in the sand with you at one point.
Yeah.
He's now like 60 years old or whatever. And he says, "I'm a representative of the Elders Guild." Hey, forgot your name.
Jerk.
Dirk, yes. Long time no see. Anyway, I'm here on behest of the Elders Council. He's speaking like old Anarian, which is not what you recall him speaking.
Do we need any kind
believe
of linguistic skill, or is it understandable?
he's talking fancy because he's had this job for 40 years.
Mm.
I believe that there is recompense pursuant to the aid that you rendered upon Farmer Garson. So I'm here to offer you each 50 gold pieces. And in addition to that, and he hands each of you a small pouch of 50 gold pieces.
Sweet.
In addition to that, if you will stay in town until tomorrow afternoon, there will be a town hall meeting in which we will do our best to honor your good deeds.
That's lovely of you. And if there's any further work to be done, please direct citizens in need to us, I suppose, since we'll be staying the night. I look to the others, like, for confirmation.
Yeah. I'll be
Yes,
kind of
why
with the
not?
pouch in my hand, like, with something like this, we can stay somewhere nice.
Someone interjects who was eavesdropping, who was walking up to you, and he says, "Oh, pish posh! You're going to stay in my tavern just down the street. You'll be the guests of honor."
I believe it's settled then.
Guest of honor. That sounds exciting.
Sounds good to me.
So there's a relatively good-sized tavern that's just down the street from the town square, where he wants you to come and be the guests of honor for the evening in the tavern. Drinks are free, food is free, the rooms are free.
Free is a very good price.
That's a great price.
It's hard to beat free. So what time of the day is it?
It is currently early evening.
All right, so he'll be looking to have us there most of the night. I'd like to see if I can get some information out of the innkeep.
Sure.
Just wondering if there is a place where one could get stones appraised.
Ooh, yes. Well, the kiosks just recently closed in town square, so you would have to find your way to an appraiser in the city, or you could wait until the morning until one of the general store kiosks open back up.
The plan's to wait till the morning. I just need to know where one is that I might be able to.
If memory serves, there should be a booth in the town square that does appraisals.
Thank you for that. Are you aware of anyone who makes bows, arrows, or armor?
Yes, I can think of several. If you would like some recommendations, I can jot them down for you.
I'd appreciate it. And with that, I'll slide him a gold piece as he, I presume, starts to jot it down.
Oh, okay. So he is now in the tavern. He's at the desk, the front desk that's away from the bar that he can check in guests, and he jots down multiple names for each. Fletcher's, whatever the word is. Bowyers, yes. I was almost there. And several different types of smiths with different expertise. And for location for each, he just says the name of the street, because the street's organized by guild. So, going on to the evening.
So,
Yes.
Ysarelle.
So the innkeeper...
that's what I was going to ask. So what do we move on to?
The innkeeper seems intent on getting his money's worth out of hosting heroes in his tavern. So he's posted a big sign outside, and he's got a crier outside. He's like a sign flipper kind of guy. And he's like, yeah, we got the monster slayers, the great mighty heroes of Garson's farm, and they are here in this tavern tonight. Come and pay your respects. There will be music, live music. Not that there's any other kind. There are drinks, there is food, there are games. Come and be part of the experience.
For the benefit of the, those of us that are not here, I imagine our bard companion would try and be the live music so as to also get more money out of this.
Well, that's the thing. There's already 2 bards here. So they might collaborate. They might... In fact, I'll text him. What did I call him?
Is his internet still down?
Yeah, it's rural internet.
Yeah, it's the
That
best.
sucks.
I texted him and asked if he wants to call me, because there are some interactions here that I'm kind of wanting him to be in on. So when you get, when the party's underway, there are multiple bards there that are singing songs, and there's the place is packed. Like, this guy's gonna make his money tonight, regardless of if you guys drink yourselves under the table.
And I intend to make my money, so I'll have a word with the crier out front, and
Yes.
also get him to advertise that I'm taking on all comers in an arm wrestling competition.
That's kind of where I thought you were going with that, actually. That's perfect. So we got one corner where you got people lined up, and they've got to pay. How much do they need to pay to arm wrestle you?
I don't like. I'd imagine just how much is like a drink?
A good one or a drink.
A decent drink, like middle of the road.
So like 5 silver.
All right, then I'll put it at 4 silver.
Yeah, there you go. So each one you're making 4 silver because they're not able to beat you. It's just random farmers. Make like 5 strength checks for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a chance because farmers can get fairly strong doing their manual labor and whatnot.
Yeah, I was thinking about a few different types of people you might come across that would be a challenge.
If there are smiths in town, they're not pushovers.
So I do run into one smith because that's a 4. I rolled a natural 1.
That was a big old burly guy with a mustache. Like one of those Irish boxer mustaches.
All right, and then I got 15, and then 21, and then 16, and then the last one 17.
All right. You cleaned up. You made 50 gold over the course of an hour.
Dope.
Don't do the math on that. I just gave you a random number.
Hey, I'm fine with that. I won't. I will not examine the numbers too closely.
Well, it gets better because each of you has your own thing going on right now. So we've got Dirk, as he's calling himself today. And what kind of shenanigans would you be up to at this point? Would there be a certain crowd that you would want to attract and be talking to or making money off of?
Sure. Just so I'm clear, I did introduce myself to Ysarelle as Dirk when we first met in this last session we played. I made sure to hang on to that information.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, you did. I have that written down.
Yeah, I remembered it as soon as you said it because I have such a hard time taking you seriously with you picking the name Dirk.
So yeah, it pays to keep track of your aliases. Yeah, I was actually going to ask Ysarelle if she knew how to or enjoyed dancing. We've got all of the...
I have not.
Sorry.
I haven't tried that before, but I would definitely be interested.
We should dance. We'll perform.
I'm going to assume that Logan
it
and the other
hard?
2 bards are going to play a piece for people to dance to.
I'm going to smile at Ysarelle and hold out a hand and say, not at all. You simply feel the music and move as feels natural to you. It starts in your hands and moves to your body down to your feet. Just watch me.
So I think we need some dexterity
Okay.
checks.
I have
Okay, hold on.
dance skill,
Oh, you do? Okay.
for which I got an 18.
Nice.
If you don't have perform dance, you can use dexterity, Bree.
Yep, I just rolled. It's a 14.
Nice.
I like the idea of perform being charisma based, so then even if you're not a particularly dexterous person, you can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's an entertaining dance, and there's people just like eating it up. Not only that, but now there is a line of men wanting to dance with Ysarelle.
Oh dear.
There's also some women wanting to dance with Gaz.
I mean, I would want to make sure that I am close enough to and paying attention to Ysarelle to be able to gauge her comfort with this. I'm not going to leave her to the dogs.
Right, of course. Yeah, there's an assortment of types wanting to dance with both of you. Gaz, you've got a line of many races and genders wanting to dance with you. Ysarelle's got a handful of just smitten young men.
So, I mean, I would, as with any, large ball, swap partners kind of a thing, find somebody and begin dancing with one of the people who propositions me. But I would keep an eye on Ysarelle, and Ysarelle, please tell me as the player if you're not careful, and we can roleplay that. Comfortable. comfortable.
Sounds good. No, in general, I'm up for dancing with whoever wants to, unless it gets awkward.
Well, Ysarelle is awkward in nature.
Yes, and I trust everyone will be doing the right thing all the time. So
Fortunately, this is a situation of like straight up hero worship, and like you may not know it, but most of these young men are ready to propose to you upon meeting you, just because of the hero worship thing. But this is just like Ysarelle gets to come out of her shell and quickly forgets that she's never danced before.
She's naturally good at it. You saw her roll.
Yeah.
Do let me know then, Joseph, if any of the men gets a little overly fond or intimate. I would do a partner swap to free her of that.
Okay, I'll let you know if anything like that occurs. For
I
now,
would keep it as casual as possible so that it wouldn't, offend anyone. Hopefully, but forgive me, but if I'm wrong, but it just seems like to Gaz that there's a level of naivete here that somebody in this crowd might try to take advantage of. So he wants to watch out for that.
oh yeah, it's a good point to make on a character note as well. But no, the evening's going well.
Yeah.
Rook has
100%.
Rook has finished an hour of cleaning up and arm wrestling. And you guys have spent the better part of an hour dancing while Logan's bard, Fredegar, has had the time of his life collaboratively musicking. And so as this part of the night dies down, now it's just people sitting at tables chatting. So if you want to be sitting as a group, if you want to be sitting with a group around each of you, talking about whatever interests come to mind, then that's a thing that can happen. What's the scene that you want to unfold here?
I'll let Ysarelle start with this one since we've been doing a lot of the talking, Derek.
Yep.
Sorry, say that again? I was feeding my dog.
So it's basically one of two situations that can happen at this point. You can be sitting together as a group with people around you wanting to talk to you, or you could pick an area and have people sit around that have common interests, and then you can talk about whatever thing you're most passionate about.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to meet new people.
He thinks that you should see new people.
Oh. And here I thought there was something there.
I mean, that's an option. RTX memories come back for me. So, I imagine...
We can definitely sit and talk to each other, too. I'm okay with that.
I was teasing.
So, Ysarelle, what's the topic that you're most passionate about?
I am so interested in learning everything about the world and societies and cultures and food.
Well, you're going to be eating a lot tonight. There's all kinds of different stuff. There's a barmaid who is like BFFs with you by this point. And she's just been bringing you snacks the whole time.
I'd assume always something
That
different.
sounds absolutely perfect.
Well, I'm sure she's bringing snacks to the guys as well, but like you two have hit it off in the past half hour of conversations. She calls you love. As for
Well, whatever she just brought me, it was very delicious.
oh, there's she can bring you a charcuterie board, crackers, just like some roast beef if you're into that. So that's going on, and I imagine maybe you're all within a certain radius of each other, but like through the course of the next hour since the dancing and arm wrestling died down, it's sort of been more and more people in a radius of you wanting to have conversations around and with you. So I want to know, Dirk, what topics you are passionate about that you would have a conversation with people about.
He's wondering about civic development in the city, actually.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Especially since it directly impacts something he is very interested in. So he wants to know about any recent civic projects, if there are any new buildings or new programs available to the citizens here, where the money is going.
Okay, why don't I bring back that guy that you know, that you played in the sand with? Dust him off
yes.
for a second.
He would be useful for that discussion.
Where is my NPCs box, and why did I not click on it? There it is, okay. I'm going to put him at the top here. Darnellio gets to go to the bottom. Giggity. Okay. Oh, that guy...
He was one of the councilmen.
He's a representative of the council. So, Representative Appanor.
There you go.
It's etymology from Oldenarian.
Suddenly, Kador doesn't seem quite as exotic as I thought.
Yes, Representative
I like
Appanor, or App, as you recall his nickname being as a child, is with you because the conversation that you've steered towards has to do with civic development, and Appanor is here, and in addition to a few other just interested parties like shopkeepers and smiths being around, even one of the deputies. Appanor is like the main person that you've been talking to. He's actually been telling you that there are some plans for improvement of the city because, considering the fact that it's year 211 since the fall, it's there hasn't been a lot of civic development in most areas. It's been mostly just local governments picking up the pieces, and he's fairly certain that the Elders Council is intending to very soon take a more active initiative in Gamut of improving things, and he says a little birdie tells him that they actually plan to institute a property tax to sort of fund these developments.
And App, how's that been going? How are the people responding to it?
I don't think they're going to like it. It's coming up tomorrow in the meeting, but you didn't hear it from me. And as you recall, because you grew up here too, there hasn't been taxes in Gamut for over 200 years.
That's a long time. Remind me how the city does any development without it.
It's mostly volunteer work. As you can see, it's not going well. Like they need a revenue stream so they can actually get stuff done. And the thing is, ever since the central government went away, there hasn't been. I mean, you've heard the stories, and you're an elf. You live a long time, so I'm sure you've heard more than I have. But it's just been hard, So we can institute a property tax.
Wait, are you telling me people aren't being nice and helpful in this town?
He turns to you and says, generally speaking, if there's a need, we can usually get someone to volunteer their time, but it's becoming more and more difficult. We're going to need to fall to contracting as a means to get things done. The walls around the city are in disrepair. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you noticed the fountain has some cracks in it. The street is, in some areas, just rubble. And it's just the public works has not been what it was since the fall. So we're needing to institute some revenue stream, and we talked about, his tongue is loose right now. We've talked about a sales tax, but that got shot down quick. So we're thinking property tax, because everyone has property. That can be a revenue stream. We don't want to tax too much, like 1% or something, but we need to do something.
I'd like to look around and see who's staring daggers at this man.
Fortunately, not many people are listening to this particular conversation. You've got some local business owners who did hear that and are kind of murmuring amongst themselves in confusion. And so, same as you, this loosened tongue man, as we will now call him, is a little bit concerned about that, so he turns and says, "Hey, oh, the dog has zoomies."
All right then.
That's not what he said. That's what I said. He says, "Hey, Kate, are you done?" She's got zoomies. Okay. He turns to the business owners nearby and says, "Can you keep that on the down low just until tomorrow, please?" And fortunately, these are people that he knows really well. Jeez Louise.
Maybe
Dog.
if that proposal doesn't go over well under such a title, you could present it as a collection of donations for individual projects, so people know what they're paying for.
I can't say much, but I do know that they have a plan.
Okay.
It does bring one question to my mind. If there are no taxes in this city, then where exactly did the money come from that paid us?
We have personal funds that we're able to occasionally put forth.
The counselors pay for these things out of their own purse?
Well, there's a requirement to be on the Elders Council. You must first be successful as a business person. So many of them own multiple businesses, so they do pay out of purse occasionally when it's needed. It's not unlike in this world, a board of trustees or directors of an organization ultimately being the ones to financially aid the organizations for which they're serving. But they generally won't, because they try to make the business profitable. So in this case, this was out of pocket because there's a requirement to be a business owner of somewhat good reputation. So in this case, it was just like pocket change for them.
All right.
Now, before we move on from here, I do want to know, Rook, if there's any conversations you're wanting to be part of.
Yes, I'd probably be regaling some of my tales of my fights from the arena, doing my best to spread the glory of Cord where I can here.
That sounds great. You've got admirers, like teenage kids wanting to be heroes, just soaking up the stories of glory. You and a few asking, where can I learn more about Cord? Where do I Google it? And then you've got just local farmers just in awe of these bloody tales. There's a few maidens who are sitting nearby and like just soaking up everything and wanting to touch your biceps.
All right.
Do they get to touch your biceps though?
Sure, I don't see why not.
Okay, they touch your biceps. Speaking of admirers, a few of the men that Ysarelle danced with are also around while she's talking about culture and things. And of course, they've never left Gamut, but they very much just want her full, undivided attention as much as they can have. But there's also other people that are just, interested in talking to her and telling her about the cultures they've seen, because Gamut does have a fair amount of people who've immigrated from other areas, business owners especially. So she's getting to soak up culture while being oblivious to her admirers. But no one's acting dishonorably. That's the important thing here, for Dirk's sake. That's all that really goes on. It's just like a big old party. The innkeeper makes bank. The bard has fun time with the bards. He also aids them in learning how to make some songs to sing of your tales as heroes. So he tells them some of his exploits, some of which might be made up, and then he tells them some of the stories that he's heard from the three of you about your exploits, and then he directs them in being able to make some songs to sing about the heroes of Garson's farm, as they're calling it, making up a whole bunch of songs about exploits that could be embellished. Who knows?
Somebody knows.
Well, really,
I like being known as a hero of Garson's farm. That's fun.
It has the level of embellishment really will come down to what you are comfortable with the knowledge, of course, that you just shot a few kobolds, and now all this. So, like, if you want them to embellish stories, they can do that. If you don't want them to, then they won't.
I just meant we'll be aware if they're embellishing around us is all I meant.
Right. Who knows what it'll sound like in a year's time.
Hmm.
So, there's
It'll be
also...
four dragons in a year's time.
So, at some point, the party dies down. Good old App says that he'll see you tomorrow at the meeting. Let him know if he needs to do anything for you. So, then you're shown to your rooms and fall fast asleep because you're exhausted. And the next thing you know, you wake up, you open your eyes, and it's morning. The sun is streaming in through your windows. There's hustle and bustle outside. There's preparations for the upcoming festival for tomorrow. I need to go ahead and P-log. Pull that up real quick. I'm going to throw in some XP for roleplay real quick. And that is also Barris Day. But we are now on Domus Day. In the early afternoon will be the council meeting, where everyone can come into the town hall round table style meeting. And in the meantime, you've got people just giving you random gifts. And then in addition to getting the gems appraised, and I presume distributing that wealth among the group, we're at a point where, in addition to the 50 gold you received earlier, the party wealth should be up to about 200 gold pieces in assets.
I mean, if that is some, then that's accurate, but you're saying we should have an additional 200 on top of that?
So I gave you 50 earlier, and I'm
Right,
giving
it
an
could be
additional
200 if
150.
there's 4 of us.
So the party wealth is 200. So whatever you receive today should be 200.
Yeah.
Does that include the 50 I got from the arm wrestling?
No, that does not include that. The party wealth will be anything that I make sure everyone gets at the same time.
I see. What did Ysarelle and I, since we had started off as a performance, I assume that we were getting money for our dance. If not, let me know.
If you were to have made a means for them to give you money, like put a hat out, then yes, you would have gotten money. But they're not just going to hand you money. Not unless you're dancing on the stage.
So, quick question then. You said, okay, so what am I supposed to add to my gold total?
If you already added the 50 earlier, just add 150 to that.
Add 150 to that. Right?
Cool. That's what I wanted to know. Okay.
So I've got the party wealth up to 200. And that's just something I'm keeping track of. Money I've awarded you and assets so that you can get the appropriate level of wealth when you reach level 3. So in the meantime, there's an important order of business, 2 of them to be exact. There are various tinkers and smiths who want to give each of you a custom gift that will be ready by the Equinox Festival. And also there is a painter who wants to render your likeness. So if that's something you want to sit still for, it will only take about 2 hours.
I look to the others. I imagine he's not here to speak for himself, but I imagine the bard's excited about that.
I imagine he's gonna love hearing all about all of this when his internet starts working again.
I feel so bad for him.
It's rural internet. It's what I've dealt with until last week.
I think that sounds so fascinating to get my picture painted. That's amazing.
It
Okay.
certainly comes as a surprise.
Consider your likeness is rendered. So before lunchtime, the painter has given you his best attempt at your likenesses, and he says, if you would like it, I guess I can roll it up, or we can put it somewhere important, like in the tavern you were staying at. Whatever you want, I can keep it in my shop, bring in business for me, or whatever you want me to do with it.
I'm going to look to the others again and just say, I don't believe that any of us has a place to keep it. If it will improve your business, I think that it should stay with you.
I can
Yeah,
also
that
look
way-
into putting it in the town hall.
I mean, if you think we're important enough to hang our likeness there.
He gives you an odd look, like, have you not been receiving free gifts for the past 2 days?
Oh no, we certainly have. It just is unanticipated and uh, unusual, I think.
Fair enough. Well, I can look into it. I just wanted to do that for you because I really appreciate what you did for old Farmer Durden. Garson, that's it. Yes, good old Farmer Garson. So he hops off with his painting. Meanwhile, I will want to know by the time the festival comes around what items you will have wanted to have made for you. Within reason, not like a giant sword or full plate, but something that can be made in a day. Like a simple sword, simple piece of armor, a simple dagger, something like that.
Mm.
Cool.
So no masterwork greatsword and no full plate.
With a +1 enchant.
I wasn't asking for enchantments.
We can ask for enchantments.
You'll have until next session to tell me what exactly you'll want. But in the meantime,
I mean-
now that you've had a free lunch, there is such thing, actually. Now there's a meeting going on that you are off to the side of the Elders Council table and guests of honor for. I know that was a quick, like, Doctor Strange hurling Thor around his house sort of transition, but that's where we're at because we're almost done. Now at the meeting, it's actually Apenor who sort of bangs the gavel. He's the speaker for them. He's their representative, even though he's not on the council. He calls them to order, and everyone calms the heck down because there's still so much bustle concerning, well, there's the monster slayers, the heroes of Garson's farm here, and also the fact that there's an Equinox Festival tomorrow, and they love their Equinox Festival. There's just like all kinds of snacks and foods and drinks and music. And yeah, so they call the meeting to order, and in summary of the points of the meeting, the chair of the Elders Council points out, first off, the heroes of Garson's farm, the mighty monster slayers, are here, and we want to acknowledge them, and everyone applauds. And he says, so we're going to dedicate the festival tomorrow to them. There's going to be a parade in their honor. So prepare any floats that you want to have for the parade. We're going to make that happen tomorrow. Also, there will be, as a small item of business, a property tax we're going to implement. But the important thing is, don't forget, tomorrow there's a parade. We're going to honor these mighty heroes who slew the great beasts at Garson's farm. So don't miss that. And I open the floor to any discussion if there's anything about the parade.
So he's just trying to fast talk
I
past. the
just
entire
like lean over to Ysarelle and go, so the plan was to sandwich it in the middle of a bunch of good news so people might not notice it.
It worked. That's the best part. It worked.
I mean, I generally like to hear good news, but this doesn't seem right.
I think they're going to run into some problems.
Perhaps we should
Leave? You're right. We should not be around for that. It gets messy.
So now there's talk about different logistics concerning the parade, which now you have found out you are going to have in your honor for killing 4 kobolds.
What happened?
It seems like this is a city of opportunists. That's what this is seeming like. But that's where we're at. So I want to start our next session with a parade for the mighty monster slayers. Hail the monster slayers.
So what you
Well,
want to know?
that should be interesting.
So between now and then is when we commission these items,
Yes.
for which you should give us an upper limit of value too, so that we can figure out what we can get.
They are mundane items. Let me look at the player's handbook real quick so I can give you an actual answer on value. I wasn't thinking value-wise, but players do.
Yeah.
I just mean that, like...
and if I could add some of my own gold and perhaps trade in my greatsword for a masterwork greatsword, in addition to my own gold.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
Because that's kind of the next thing I need. I have half plate. Full plate's not an option, and I can't afford it anytime soon. But a better sword, that I might be able to afford.
Isn't masterworking pretty expensive, like 1,000 gold?
It's like 450. 400 on top of the base price of 50.
It's 300. They're willing to go up to 100 simply because that's the limit of what they're going to have time for anyway. But if there's someone that you're willing to work something out with, make a trade or whatever, maybe give them more time, then we can work something out there. But they would really like to get it done by the parade so people see it, so they'll come and give them more business.
I suppose that, like, in that case, since we're in the vein of trying to figure out this kind of thing, would any type of ornamentation or jewelry that could later be enchanted?
So it's difficult to get things enchanted in Gamut. There's like
right, no, I know. We also don't have anywhere near the money to actually get something enchanted. I meant, enchanted items in 3.5 come in the form of, like, the Belt of Giant Strength or the Periath of Wisdom. Would it be reasonable in your setting for us to be thinking ahead to an enchantment and say, well, they're gifting us a nicely crafted item, perhaps. Maybe ahead of time that you're going to want, like, a necklace or a headpiece, like earrings or something, enchanted, so you would get them nicely made here and enchanted later when we have that kind of money and those kind of resources.
Yes. Also, there are the +1 through 5 bonuses that happen on armor and weapons, and that is something to work towards as well. So any of that you want to do, that's fine. It is a magic item world. The way that it works in, because like 5th edition has attunement, 3.5 is there's amount of slots that you have like in an MMO. So, what was I going to say?
I have a diagram that I drew the last time I played 3.5 that I can share with people to show where you have slots.
Yeah, I have one as well. It might be the same one or something similar.
Yeah, mine was a stick figure.
Oh, gotcha. I have one that I've used for character sheets that I might try to track down as well. But as long as it has all the slots, that's what matters. But there is a thing where if an item already has a magic enchantment, you've got to put an enchantment onto an item means to replace the other one. So if you've got a +1, you've got to pay someone to replace it with a +2. You don't just up the magic. You don't like increase the amount of magic in the item. The +2 enchantment is different from the +1 enchantment. So that'll be something where, as time goes by, you might decide, well, I want to get this +1 weapon and then save up for the +3, or maybe just not get an enchanted and get the +2 later on, and you're just gonna have to make that decision because it is kind of costly.
But those are decisions for another day, because as far as I'm aware, that's in the thousands of gold territory.
Yeah, and we'll get there. We will get there. As far as all that goes, I don't have anything else planned. Just let me know about that. And then also if there's any special outfits that you're interested in pursuing for the parade.
Oh, Paladin of Court. I stick with my armor.
Maybe
my armor's my outfit.
It might be possible for you to get a commission done that involves the symbol of Cord then.
Yes, I was hoping to get it kind of etched into like the hilt of the greatsword.
Perfect. That's what I was thinking too. We think alike. Okay, that's all I got because I want to honor Bree's time so she can take care of her dog and family.
Oh, thanks. question though about the stuff to wear for the parade. Are you saying that could be something they make for us, or that would be just something they give to us because they want us to look good in the parade?
You're basically in sponsorship mode. If you desire something, there might be someone willing to provide that because that will get them business. So if you can describe what outfit you want to be wearing at the parade, I'll tell you how possible it is.
Okay, yeah. Ysarelle, because she grew up an orphan and basically right now all she has is like ranger type clothes on, she would love to just once wear a super nice like robe that the elite would wear.
Great. Send me however detailed of descriptions of your commission and your outfits before our next session. I'll make that happen. And then I'll make sure that Logan listens to the session. Poor guy.
Okay. Okay.
And I will see you all at the next session. Thanks for everyone for listening to episode 8, Hail the Monster Slayers, and I look forward to you attending or watching the VOD of our next episode of Valanaria Chronicles.